So we'll continue with some more configurations of this capacitive type of sensors. Next would be, we call it a switched capacitance sensing. You must have heard this term switch capacitance or like this. Nowadays, many of the analog circuits, the switch capacitance circuits are being used uh, to replace resistors and also some more advantages here. And one more point is that for the switch capacitance, often we can also here there we will see it that we may have to work with simply plus VCC plus V and ground or like this. That means just switching between two levels, that is a digital levels there, whether we can achieve the same thing or not. Definitely, otherwise it would be easier for, I mean, if we can do it, it would be easier because generation of sinusoidal voltage of different frequency or there or even the square wave generation with zero mean at different frequencies, it requires some more extra hardware. But on the other hand, if we can make some digital clock there with varying the clock frequency, we can do something there. So using that clock, we can do a lot. Then definitely it is much more simpler. So that's the thing there where we are trying to see whether the schemes or the circuits we have shown it with sinusoidal sources or like this can be replaced by switch capacitance technique and how it can be done and what are the benefits there. Definitely there are a lot of things there, but I am showing you the simplest of the form there. So what is this? So the advantage in this case, we can say simple circuit and compatible to CMOS process. Okay. So what is it? Okay, we are showing you the simplest, that is a low input impedance type capacitance amplifier with single sensor. So sensor is CX there and the CX is that one, and there are two switches. These two switches are driven by a clock like this, S1 and S2. Both of them are driven by clock synchronously. So what will happen? And you see that the voltage we have given excitation are simply a DC voltage. Only a plus VR voltage is there and another is a ground voltage. That's a grounded one there. And this is your sensor, and whenever this is S2 is another switch, it is once it shorts the capacitance and in position 1 and in position 2 it opens the feedback capacitance. So S1 and S2 are CMOS type analog switches. So these are the so they are very compatible with the CMOS process or like this. So S1 is high. That means when clock is high, or rather I will say, okay. That means connected to 1. And S1 and S2 both, they are connected to both. And if S1, S2 are low, connected to position 2. So definitely with the clock high and low, this will be switching between S1 and S2, will be switching between this and this like this. So initially I say that clock is high. Let at clock is high, S1, S2 both are at position 1. So what will happen? This is connected to the position 1 and this VR Cx will be charged to the voltage of VR. So what will happen? Cx will be plus VR. And what will happen? Cf will be short circuited because this capacitance is short circuited. So any charge accumulated in this one due to say what we can say due to some input bias current or like this non-ideal it is, this whenever this switches is S2 is at position 1, we just discharge it. So finally what will happen is that V0 is equal to 0 volt because this is 0 here. But this Cx will be there charge, so it is a virtual ground and this will be a plus VR position and the Cx will be charged here. Now what will happen? The clock is low. So S2, S1 and S2 at position 2. So this, what is the position 2 of S1? It is grounded. So the left hand side is grounded and the right hand side is also at virtual ground. But this capacitance has stored during the time T1, the on time, this capacitance has stored some charge in it. So if it is on S1 is connected to position 2, this cannot, because both of the elements are at same charge, this cannot hold that charge there. On the other hand, once it is S2 is connected to position 2, CF is no longer shorted. So what will happen? This charge stored in CX will be transferred to the charge to the will be transferred to CF. So charge stored in CF during T on will be transferred to CX rather will be transferred to CF. That means this charge which is stored will be transferred to the CF charge. So definitely you can say that Cx into Vr is equal to Cf into V0, because this is virtual ground, this is V0. So once the charge is transferred, so this will be Cx into V0. So naturally what we can say is that if it is so, so V0 during T1 V0 is equal to Cx by Cf into Vr. So so naturally we can say that V0 will be having continuously, this is a 0 volt and this voltage is Cx by Cf into V0 Vr volt. This will be switching, and we can say that you can take an average and do the things there. So if you look at it, that by introducing a clock, it is much easier to make it, that is a switch capacitance sensing there. Switch capacitance sensing there. And
Hello, sir.
yes,
Sir, when clock is low, can you tell again like how the charges are transferred from CX to CF?
so clock is low, then what will happen? The S1 is going to the +2 position. And S2 is already at virtual ground. So it cannot hold that charge, because both the ends are at the same potential and there is some charge, so some voltage is there. So what will happen? On the other hand, this capacitance is now open circuited. So naturally it can accommodate that charge there. So this charge will be transferred to CF, and as a result what will happen? There would be some voltage V0 will be here there. So
Sir,
naturally, yes?
what is the voltage at the second port there, like in CF?
Huh? So what is the voltage? We just considered that what is the charge transferred. Charge transferred is this one. And where this charge is transferred? The charge transferred is to this side there. Okay. So what will happen is that this will be into CF into V0, because this charge has to be here balanced there. Any question or any, Saurabh?
Yes, sir, got it. Yes.
Got it? Huh? Just think of and do that thing there. So naturally, it's a very nice technique for converting a capacitance to some sort of digital signaler like this and making the average one. We'll get it. And obviously, we can here also similarly, earlier we have told that is a direct digital conversion. We have shown it for resistive type transducers, but because of lack of time, I will not be able to go into detail of it, but I am sure if we go through these things, you can understand or there. If required, I can give you some reading materials also. That similar type of capacitance type uh, direct conversion, digital conversion is also there. And you can see it easily that which it starts from this sort of thing like this, and we can make a direct digital conversion of this area. So naturally, using a digital one, a lot of hardwares, you can mimic the analog part, you can simplify it, but and lot of hardware is saved there. Okay. So with this, I will stop with the different techniques of capacitive sensors like this are signal conditioning circuits. There are 100 more. In fact, interestingly, forgot to bring it. There is a famous book by of capacitive sensors. By Baxter. Here IEEE publication. It is 1997, but you can easily imagine it's almost 25 years now the book was published. But this book is around 400 pages. So now you can see the what are the different schemes and etc. 25 years back. And this is called mostly very authentic book. It is always still now considered. And that to 400 page, you can see what are the different applications and different schemes of capacitive sensors are available. And after that, there is always, there have been a much more improvement in miniaturization, integration with MEMS, and also other IoT applications and etc. This has got it. So naturally, you can see the capacitance sensors have got found immense applications, and it is very difficult to cover all the things. But I can tell you that but whatever you see, if you go through any book or like this, any paper like this, whatever you see, it would be nothing but primarily whatever we have discussed in these two lectures there. But you can see nowadays there are a lot of small size sensors are available, and because of which are CMOS compatible or like this there, and that's why the capacitive sensors, because of their small size, are found to be much more there, what we call it, acceptable and much more popular compared to other things there. So I would give you some few configurations. One is a I don't know whether I will be able to show the scheme here and explain it in short. But as I told you that micro electromechanical systems. It's a very popular word, and they are of very small size there. And many of the there, they employ the MEMS type. Advantage is that they can also integrate capacitive sensor as well as the IC, integrated chip, specific IC there, integrate together and package together like this there. And they can be available in very small size IC there. We can say that the simple type of accelerometer, obviously accelerometer will be discussed in the next part, that is a device 2. But accelerometer, you know, these are like a seismic mass or seismograph there, we can say that if there is any which vibrating with some acceleration ai, and the mass with respect to that structure, there would be some displacement occurred there, and this is a spring and this is a damper alike. So if there is any vibration and acceleration, there is a displacement of the mass, and that displacement of the mass is very low, and naturally this has to be sensed and by converted into electrical signals there. So a seismic accelerometer or this sort of MEMS capacitive accelerometer, in a simpler way I can show you. So this is your, we call it proof mass, and this is a spring. It is tied to spring there. So if the acceleration is applied upward, what will happen? The proof mass will try to sag. This is always due to the inertia. This proof mass will be able to sag. So this is the spring, this is the proof mass, and the damping, there is no external damping, but once it moves, there is some air damping. Here we can do that. Now this proof mass movement as maybe in order of nanometer even, in order of nanometer even. So what we can do is that in this one, in a proof mass, for detection of this one, we can employ some capacitive sensor by which we can say that one. So these are, we call it comb. These are some sort of combing brush, and like this combing your hair, this sort of combs are there. And we put some some sort of what we call it fixed fingers. We put some fixed fingers here. Here also, in other side also, we put them in a different way like this. All of them I connect them. And this is connected to C2. If we recall that our push-pull configuration, it was like this: C1 increasing, C2 decreasing. And this is called a push-pull configuration. Here also, if this, okay, I will call it C2 and this is C1. So the point is that if the proof mass goes down, as I told, the acceleration is upward, proof mass will go down. So as a result, this moving finger will come closer to the fixed finger. All of them are coming parallel, and as a result, this capacitance will increase. On the other hand, this proof mass goes down, so the gap between this one all increasing. So naturally this C2 will decrease. And I am showing you for the simplest case or like this, but there are few hundred such fingers, and the gaps between them may be around 2 micrometer nominal gap, and you can have, because the displacement and etc. or acceleration, the displacement may be in the order of few nanometers there, 10 nanometers or like this. So in that case, what we have, a delta C is in the range of femtofarad, 1 or 2, say suppose 2 to 10 femtofarad we can say. So this is really a challenging job to fabricate, and all of them is fabricated using silicon, because MEMS is the particular is that it is fabricated with silicon as the structural material, and with silicon it is fabricated, and you see that this sort of the capacitive sensor we can have it. C1 is 2 to 10 microfarad or like this the variation here. So it has to be required, because you know that this variation is very small, while the nominal capacitance it may be 2 picofarad or 10 picofarad or like. To get a variation of 2 to 10 femtofarad in presence of the nominal capacitance of 10 picofarad or 2 picofarad, then it is really a problem. So there are a lots of issues there for this one. But the basic scheme, whatever I have to discuss, are the same here. This is the basic philosophy of a MEMS capacitive accelerometer. Similarly, we can say intrusion detector there. Often somebody jumps on your, steals the car and just tries to drive it. And you sit on this one car there. And so there should be some alarm that it is, that should be there. That should be set because some theft has been coming. So it can also be in your flat or like this. Once you enter this one or some there, come very close to that one, there should be some alarm there. So it is something like this. Say suppose a platform is there. Say somebody stands on that platform and there is a near your door or maybe anywhere that you have where you I don't expect him to come like this. So what will happen is that there is a capacitance between this and this will be coming there, and there is ultimately a capacitance meter there which detects the through this body of this one detects that whether what is the capacitance level there. If he is coming close on like this, which is unexpected, and the capacitance suddenly increases, we can easily say that definitely some intrusion has taken place and the capacitance has changed, and this one you can set some alarm there. So, a lot of things are there. But finally, I am not going to those schemes there, but finally, I would be discussing about the most popular applications of capacitive sensors is you must have seen that even our microphone while we speak or like this there, our when we speak or like this there is always some microphone there. And what is a microphone there? It converts the sound vibration into a electrical signal like this there. And also what happens is that there is a diaphragm. If we speak, the diaphragm vibrates, and basically there is a similarly you can say there is a fixed plate and a moving plate. The capacitance between them changes, and if we change the capacitance, it's changing, so naturally you can have a variation of capacitance, you can detect it and do the things there. So this is actually, we will find that the capacitance, this is the principle of capacitance microphone. But what I wanted to say, in earlier days, if we see your movies and earlier there, the microphones were big. The principle was also different there. But with the advent of different newer materials, they have been discovered, newer materials came up with this one, are coming up like this. And with those things, we could make the size of those sensors or the scheme, the measuring schemes, very small to by incorporating those materials there. So this capacitance microphone is actually one of them, and that is called where this employs some newer material developed and which has got a, you are all using, which has got some decent applications there. So these microphones are known as electret type. So what is electret? It's known as, it's a plastic material and is known as PTFE. So PTFE stands for polytetra fluoroethylene. You can easily understand that it's a polymer material which has been developed in recent times there. It traps, this electret traps charges rather, when it is biased at a high voltage, high DC voltage at high temperature. It retains the charge when allowed to cool. And interestingly, with a retention time two to 10 years. That means this electrode, what is that? It's a polymer material. You first of all, this electrode, you place it at high temperature inside a by applying some high voltage DC area. So at that position, it will trap some charge from the electric field present nearby. And if we cool slowly and completely cool it and withdraw the electric field, then that charge will be retained. And retention will be a very long time. It is about 2 to 10 years. So naturally, in your lifetime of your microphone or like this, you need not change it. So basically, what is the scheme here? How does the electrode helps you? It is something like this. Now I will just draw a circle. Okay. So here it is. There is a vent through which your sound goes. The sound wave comes from this one and hits inside, comes in, and there is a metallized plastic diaphragm, very thin metallized plastic diaphragm. So what will happen? This will start vibrating, and now inside it there is an electrode, and which has already trapped some charge. So that means some charge has there, plus Q charge is already there. And definitely, this metallized plastic diaphragm, when it comes close to it and vibrates or like this there, it will also get induced with some charge. There would be some induced charge, and that will cause you, whenever that will cause you some output, whenever this amplified by a FET. So the equivalent one, you can say, circuit is like this. There is a trap charge, and whenever it comes to that one, there would be some voltage induced in the metallized plastic diaphragm, and that is fed to a FET and a load resistance. And as a result, there would be some voltage will be there. So it's a very small size in it, and you can see that you can make this measurement and convert A to sound energy to electrical signals nicely with a small size and this one. And the major is that its lifetime is also long, that is 2 to 10 years, unlike this. So I cannot complete all the things there, but I can tell you, possibly I have given you some essence of what is what and what type of sensors we use it. There are hundreds of sensors, capacitive type sensors. As I told, it is one of the most popular sensors there, and it can be used in different applications. Every day something you may find out that some newer touch sensor, proximity sensor, different types of sensors are here there, and they are in use, and they can be here there. Okay. Is there any question? Any question up to this? If it is not, I will call it a day. But if you please go through it, the notes and also the relevant material which are available in other textbooks and also some papers and etc. You can find out, and you may find very interesting applications as well. We will try to hear that. So, and try to solve the problems. Few different problems I have given in the tutorial sheets that will be interesting. Some of them are interesting to solve, and that way you can do that thing. And if we have any difficulty, we will discuss it on Thursday. Otherwise, we'll start on the next topic for the temperature measurement. Is it okay? Any question? Any doubt? Actually, this part, capacitive type sensor, I have taken from Baxter's book. You can see that. Okay? So, if it is not, let us call it a day. Thank you very much.